Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Saturday, January 11th in the NBA. Three picks on the way, and boy, do I feel pretty good about the card today. I think we might be bringing out the brooms tomorrow. But as always, we begin with a recap of how we did yesterday. And man, it was an interesting day. We went 1-1-1. Now, our one winner, Josh Hart's over in points plus rebounds, a sweat-free winner, cashes early in the third quarter. I don't even know if he played in the fourth. Our one loser, Sabonis, we'll talk about him in a second. And then our one push was Zion Williamson, who gets suspended and does not play. Can't make it up. Let's talk with Sabonis. Obviously, I know the comment section is ripping me apart. I took his under in rebounds plus assists, 20 and a half. The brother had 28 rebounds, the most in the NBA this season. Can't make it up. That was a terrible read, and I'll own it. Now, I'd argue I'd rather lose like that where a guy just destroys us instead of, hey, we took it. He had 20, and then he gets his final one with the last 10 seconds. So just a bad read on my end, man. He just absolutely destroyed on the glass. It is what it is. And with that, I'm banning the Sacramento Kings. I'm out. I'm out on the team as a whole. I bet on De'Aaron Fox. Brother can't score. It's Malik Monk's day. If I bet on Sabonis' under, he becomes the best rebounder of all time. Let me take his over. I guarantee you he has 4 fouls in the first half. I'm out on the Kings. Rest of the teams are fair play, but man, I cannot get anything going on the Kings. So, hey, we'll avoid that team going forward, at least the next week or two. We got 3 picks today, and the Sacramento Kings don't play today. Let's go 3-0. My last note before we dive into the picks. Saturday, there's 2 NFL playoff games. I encourage you to check it out. I have 2 picks, one for each of them. The video was posted yesterday. That one, go check it out. We've been dialed in the NFL. Hopefully, we can have a great postseason. We'll have another video posted later on today, Sunday's NFL Best Bets video. That'll include all my thoughts on Sunday's games, and then we'll have a separate video for Monday Night Football. But without further ado, you guys came in for some picks on Saturday. Appreciate you for tuning in. Drop a like, subscribe, drop your picks in the comments. Here we go. First pick of the day. Ja Morant, the guy I put on the thumbnail, over 25.5 points plus rebounds, minus 115 on FanDuel, a 1-unit play. Now, obviously, Ja Morant returned back from injury, and we'll talk about how he did in his first game back. But I love the spot here for him as the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe, are on the road taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, should be a good spot for Ja Morant. Who knows where his minutes are at? I'll kind of predict where I see it being. But I really like his over in points plus rebounds. If you obviously need an individual line, the over in points is the way to go. But I see some upside in rebounds, and we'll talk about that in just 1 second. Now, like I said, Ja Morant did return back from injury in his most recent game, and he played pretty well. If you look at him statistically, he went out there, had 30 points plus rebounds, and I'll zoom this in one time for you. 30 points plus rebounds, so not too shabby in that game. 22 shots, 11 free throw attempts, 3 rebounds on 8 rebound chances. So on the season, about 50% hit rate. But again, Ja Morant's the way he scores, you see those all there. But we've talked about this before. That was a matchup against the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets on the season, we're talking about teams that give up a lot of 3-pointers, catch and shoot threes. Houston Rockets are not that. Second fewest in the league, and look right below them is the Minnesota Timberwolves. So again, these are 2 defenses that when push comes to shove, they want your number 1 guy to go one-on-one against them. Hence the Rockets, they have Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, all those guys. The Timberwolves have Jaden McDaniels and those guys as well. So again, they don't want the 3-point ball to beat them. They want your number 1 guy to go out there and do their thing. And against Ja Morant, the thing is not going to change. They're going to want him to go out there and score, especially given Ja Morant not very well known for being a 3-point shooter. So again, most of his damage is coming at the rim. And who do they have down there in the rim protection? Rudy Gobert, one of the best rim protectors in the league. Now, I'm not afraid of Rudy Gobert, and neither will Ja Morant. And heck, he's absolutely destroyed him in this matchup before. In his last 4 games against Rudy Gobert as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves, I don't really care about these Utah Jazz stats. We saw 28, 24, 27, and 32 points. You look at the field goal attempts, 23, 21, 20, 25. I get it. He's playing, 34 or more minutes. In this most recent game, he played 29 minutes. But again, the rebounds are there too, 9, 10, 5, and 10. He's been pretty good in this spot against Rudy Gobert, and I think it's going to continue. So again, I like the upside in rebounds, given that Ja Morant probably guards Jaden McDaniels, who doesn't really get the ball much. And so we're going to see him weak side for rebounds. And I also like him to attack the hoop and try to score down there in the rim protection. We saw them play Zion one-on-one and just had Rudy Gobert lurking there. I'll trust Ja Morant to get into the paint, do his thing. That's what he does. I really like his over 25.5 points plus rebounds, my first pick of the day. I think it's a great play. I love Ja Morant. If you need individual line, take his over in points, but I like the rebound upside. I think there's multiple different ways Ja Morant could get there. I think this is a great spot for him. If I had to predict his minutes, he played 29 in the first game he came back. My guess is probably he's right around 29 to 32. So, and I think he certainly can hit this over with that amount of minutes. Second play, we're going to go to a guy that owes us money. Trey Young. I like his over 23.5 points, minus 108 on FanDuel, another 1-unit play. We'll get back to doing maybe 2-unit plays sooner or later, but I like sticking to the 1 units, 3 plays a day. Keep it simple. Try to go 2-1 or 3-0 and keep the line moving. Now, Trey obviously cost us some money in his most recent game. We'll talk about that in a second, but I think this is a great spot for Trey Young to have to score. Now, this is an earlier start. I think they start at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, so an earlier start than normal. So make sure you get it locked in for Mr. Ice Trey. But I love the spot for him to score the basketball. Now, you could take the points plus assists, and I get it. There's upside and assists there, but I don't like this matchup for him to get assists. And it's actually a virtually identical one to what we just talked about. We talked about Ja Morant and how he absolutely destroyed the Rockets. That was a matchup that, hey, we need your number one guy to go out there and be aggressive. Ja Morant was that. Well, who does Trey Young play today? Yep, you guessed it, the Houston Rockets. So again, this should be another spot where Trey Young has to be aggressive. Now, I won't lie to you, this line was 22.5 and it got bumped up to 23.5. I'll take the 23.5. He has ended on 23 multiple times early on in the season. These 2 games, and then over here at 23. So he's had some close calls here. But again, Trey Young on the season, not the best hit rate, 11 of 30 games. However, as I've talked about, the way he scores, number one common most method of scoring, pick and roll ball handler. 34% of his points come in that area. And again, the Rockets ranked 26th. As we talked about, spot up shooting, they are a really good defensive matchup. Look, second best defense against spot up shooters. We already talked with them. They don't give up a lot of catch and shoot opportunities. Well, obviously, if you go and, we'll pull up the Hawks depth chart, the Hawks are down a lot of guys today. They are going to be down. I mean, Trey Young should play. If you look at it, I believe he's probable, so he should be out there. But again, Jalen Johnson is out. We'll see if Bogdan Bogdanovic plays. But if Bogdan doesn't play, the guys out there on the court are Dyson Daniel. Oop, I'm blocking it. We're talking Dyson Daniels, Zachary Researchet, DeAndre Hunter, maybe Garrison Matthews. These guys, Vic Krejci, he's been playing a lot. These guys only really catch and shoot. So again, they're going to need Trey Young to be aggressive. And we've seen him when he is aggressive. And we're talking about, hey, let's say Trey Young shoots 15 or more times over in, 56% of games. Well, if you eliminate some games where he sucks and can't make shots, we're talking just Trey Young shooting 15 times and making 35% of his shots, 71% hit rate on the season. So again, he's had some bad games in you where he makes 40% of shots, 44, stuff like that. But again, if he doesn't have a really, really bad shooting night, this should be a great spot for Trey Young to knock down some shots. So I really like the over in points. I know the Rockets have some good defenders out there, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, those guys. Again, they're going to play in one-on-one coverage. They were letting Ja Morant post up those guys and get into the paint on one-on-one. They're going to let Trey Young do his thing. He's going to get a lot of screens, but with Şengün playing a lot of drop coverage, Trey should be able to get to that three-point ball with those pull-up jump shots. Also, he can probably get the guys on his back, pause, and get to the free throw line. He's capable of doing that. He has the floater game. We need those floaters to fall. I think it's a great spot to back Trey Young. He's getting us our money back. Love his over and points tonight. Pretty confident he scores at least 20. So if you want a parlay piece, 20-plus points, very solid one. I think he gets us to 24, though, in an earlier start against the Houston Rockets. Really love that play. Now, my third and final play of the day will be a guy that we've backed once this season, and it was probably about a week or two ago, and he cashed pretty easily for us today. I am requesting more of the same. This is a late night start. Put it in reverse, Terry. Terry Rozier, over 12.5 points, minus 110 on ESPN Bet. I'd play this at 13.5. You can take some plus money at 15-plus points. Heck, even go to 20-plus points. I love Terry Rozier tonight against the Trailblazers. Now, the Miami Heat are on the road taking on Portland. I think this is a great spot to back Terry Rozier. Now, I don't like betting a lot of Heat props because, I'll be honest, team is a little bit suspect, and you never really know with the rotations. However, with Jimmy out, the rotations seem to be a little bit more cohesive, and a guy like Terry Rozier is playing meaningful minutes. And I think he has a good spot to go over this line. Now, if you talk about Terry Rozier, we have to first talk about how he's been doing so far this season. And we're going to talk about mostly games in which Jimmy Butler has not played in. So these are all the games Jimmy has been inactive in most recently. So mostly since, December or so. In these games, we've seen him, only averaging 13 over and 4 of 8, cutting that off a little bit. But again, you look at the games, 23 points here on 15 shots. 14 points on 14 shots. This game, only 8 field goal attempts, only played 20 minutes, 14 points. Again, here, only 9 field goal attempts, only 18 minutes. But recently, in the last 2 games, he's been pretty aggressive. He's been shooting the ball pretty well. I mean, not shooting the ball well, but shooting the ball. 12 field goal attempts, 13 field goal attempts. The problem is 4 for 12 and 4 for 13. Now, if you look at how he scores, Top two methods, spot up shooting, where the Blazers rank 21st, and in transition, where they rank 29th, second to last. Again, this is a really bad Blazers defense, especially against guards. Don't believe me. Look at this on the season. This is the Blazers team against point guards. Second most points per game in the NBA allowed. You go to shooting guards, or not third most. Shooting guards, third most. So again, really struggling defense. 3-pointers, they're most in the league. In terms of guards, they're whatever down. I don't know where they are right here. Again, I think this is a spot where he's going to play pretty well. His last two games against him, 19 and 22 points. Field goal attempts are sort of in line with what he's been attempting recently. The minutes, he's actually been playing more minutes than that. So again, I think Terry Rozier gets opportunities today. Now, does he knock them down? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But again, a guy that's coming in here playing about 30, 36 minutes or so, getting the 12-ish field goal attempts in a very good matchup, I got to take a chance on Terry Rozier. So I love his over in points at 12.5 tonight. I think it's a smash spot. I think if I checked the scores later on tonight and he scored 20, wouldn't really shock me at all. He obviously has the capability to do that, has had a couple rough games where the shots just aren't falling. If the shots were falling, we're looking at a line probably at 15.5 given the matchup. But given the shots haven't fallen the last two games, we have a lower line. I love the spot for Terry Rozier. So again, those are my three plays. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. You see them down below. 3 overs. Ja Morant's over in points plus rebounds. Trey Young's over in points. Terry Rozier's over in points as well. I love this card. I think we're going 2-1 minimum. Good chance we could go 3-0 today. So if you want to parlay them, I love all three of those picks. A reminder, we have our Saturday NFL playoff video that is already live. Go check it out. 2 picks for today's Saturday playoff games. Tap in later on today. I don't know what time I'll post it. Maybe around 1 or 2 p.m. I'll have my NFL Sunday best bets video. That'll include 3 plays for Sunday, plus our favorite spreads and totals, plus a touchdown parlay for Sunday's game. So tap into that. Have a great Saturday. Good luck on all your wagers. I think we're going 3-0 today, and I'll be back tomorrow with the brooms out. See you guys then. Peace.